You burned the suit, you're not Robin anymore, so what now?
Being Hawk and Dove was dangerous for both of us. I stopped, but if you can't, we're done.
You're asking me to choose between my destiny and you.
Maybe they're the same thing.
I'm so tired.
End your little experiment, or I will burn this place down myself.
There's ghosts in this place. Tell them what happened.
Look, I don't take orders from you anymore, man.
Get out of my way.
You're in my way.
Would you do it again? Devote all that time and trouble for someone that just wants to leave?
I would do everything exactly the same.
I'm not sure if it's the right thing to do.
I don't think you have a choice.
You ready for this, Grayson?
Yep.
What is the deal with you and Shimmer, anyway?
Well, first, her name is Shimmer. That's just annoying.
Okay, Crypto. And I guess I'm Connor.
Yeah, what the hell is this place, anyway?
This is a place where people like you can learn how to be the best version of who you are.
I hope I haven't broken this place.
Hello, Miss Coriander.
Who else did they send?
Just me. Sorry about that, Your Highness.
I'm glad you could make it!
Slade Wilson is why we shuttered this place. Sooner or later, he'll come knocking.
He's gonna kill how many more now?
Now's the time. Be Batman.
Hey everybody, it's Charlie. They dropped the official Titan Season 2 trailer. We got a whole bunch of Batman, a whole bunch of Deathstroke. They're rolling really hard on Red Hood and compelling Nightwing to become Batman. I love that little tag at the end of the trailer, Be Batman. So we'll break it all down. There's a new round of that DC Universe giveaway. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave your best Titan Season 2 theory on the video. There's actually a couple lines of dialogue during this trailer that confirm a couple big fan theories about what happened to the original version of the Titans and what caused them to break up. Basically blaming Deathstroke for probably killing one of the members. Pretty good odds that winds up being Aqualad because we don't see him anywhere in present day. You get some flashbacks with Wonder Girl Donna Troy. You're asking me to choose between you and my destiny. So it sounds like he wanted to quit the original version of the Titans when things were getting a little too real, but because Wonder Woman was grooming her to eventually take her place someday, or at least stand in for her in a lot of things around the world that Wonder Woman doesn't have time for, she didn't want to go with him. Then early prediction, Deathstroke probably wound up killing him, just completely driving the team apart. Because when we see them during season 1, when they start reconnecting, you get that there's all this weird bad blood that they never really fully explain, but that seems like what they're doing this season. They're also rolling really hard on terrible dads. Batman as a terrible dad and Deathstroke as an even worse dad. So Batman isn't all bad. Like, I wouldn't say he's the worst dad in the world, but there have been a lot of comics in the last couple of years that have tried to address the issue of why he would take children off the street and put them into this life. Like, why would you compel a child to become Robin? Why would you endorse that kind of lifestyle for them? And I love Ian Glenn's version of Bruce Wayne saying that I would do it all over again in the trailer when the question is asked to him, would you do this all over again? Yes, I absolutely would. They start with a really quick montage of all the characters. You get another shot of Superboy and Crypto we saw in the last trailer. Then they sort of get to the meat of the actual footage. I love the idea that Jason Todd is just standing in the wreckage of one of the bat caves here like, what just happened? What the hell is going on? Because at the end of season 1, Trigon had Nightwing in that special mind space where he was trying to corrupt him. So that's probably where a lot of this environmental destruction is from early in the trailer before they sort of get to the later episodes footage. This is Jericho, one of Deathstroke's other children. He's going to be a big part of the season, along with Ravager, the female version of Ravager, Rose Wilson. She obviously goes full comic book Ravager. I don't know exactly what they're going to do with Jericho this season, and if he'll get a costume too. The whole thing about Hawk wanting Dove to stop being Dove is the same reason why Nightwing wanted to stop being Robin. So he wanted to leave Batman because it was getting a little too real, and he was worried that he was going to turn into this terrible person or wind up dying. Last season, a lot of you were like, hey, wait a minute, didn't Dove wind up dying? How did she show up in the season 2 trailer? She just got her ass beat so bad by Trigon's people that she was in the hospital for the rest of the season. Raven breaking down with the gem in her forehead obviously is happening after the first episode because it seems like that's when that happens. She winds up trapping Trigon in the gem, saving her friends, and then has to just deal with that for the rest of her existence. But it's this constant dark presence weighing on her at all times, which gives you a little context for why she's so dark all the time. Imagine the worst person possible just whispering in your ear at all times to release them. She can actually sense what's going on with her father while he's in the gem at all times. This is another shot of the Titans Tower. It looks like present day. I love the idea that Dove's like, I will burn this place to the ground if you try to put the Titans back together, but very clearly they're putting a new Titans team together. More of Jason Todd just going completely gung-ho. I love the idea that he's the one that alerts Deathstroke that the Titans are getting back together. Titans are back, bitches. And all of a sudden you have Deathstroke, who's been chilling out for the last couple of years, who sees an opportunity to take them down again. The real question, though, is why did he kill Aqualad, or one of the other potential members, and why is he after them in present day? Probably has something to do with his children, with Ravager and Jericho. But I love the foreshadowing in this, too. There's this theory that he's going to be the person that winds up killing Jason Todd, putting him on that Red Hood arc. Obviously, he's got to be in the ground for a little while before you can throw him in a Lazarus pit and bring him back as the Red Hood character. But it seems like him being so brazen and public about the Titans coming back just foreshadows Deathstroke eventually killing him. We get our Robin, Nightwing, Batman scene. I love the idea that he's going to help him on the path to becoming Nightwing, not only just bankrolling him and giving him the actual physical Nightwing costume, but talking him through the process of why it's necessary for him and why he should become Nightwing. Because that's why they included that scene of him burning his Robin costume last season during season 1. We all assumed he was going to get his costume in the finale, but then they canceled that last episode and just sort of recut it with some new footage, turning it into episode 1 of season 2. So a lot of the times when you see him in the Robin costume in this trailer, it's flashbacks to the original version of the Titans however many years ago before they broke up. Love the playful banter between Raven and Nightwing. She sort of gives him the idea like, yeah, you don't have a choice in this. You definitely have to put this Titans team together. You can also see some of the Batcave architecture in the background here too. And when we got those season 1 scenes in the Batcave, even though it's all happening inside Robin's head or it's a flashback, that's what the actual Batcave looks like. That's what the actual Batmobile looks like. But I think the idea is obviously Batman is constantly upgrading his arsenal, so we might see a couple different versions of the Batmobile. This is a scene from one of the second or third episodes, I think, with Starfire and Nightwing inside the Titans Tower. We don't know if it's going to be in San Francisco or if they're going to have some other explanation for it, because during season 1, they traveled all over mostly what was the East Coast in the Midwest. We didn't see them too much over on the West Coast. New scene of Nightwing training Beast Boy in hand-to-hand combat, them sparring. I'm sure there'll be some funny moments where they're sparring and he just hulks out into animal form. Love all the sick burns that Donna Troy lays on Shimmer. We finally explained who this character is. We saw a little bit of footage of this fight in the last trailer, but it was really far away, so it was kind of hard to tell who they were fighting. Like, Dr. Light shows up later in the trailer. She's just been a minor comic book villain that's been a thorn in her side for a long time. She's from the Wonder Woman comics. She'll just be someone for her to lay the massive beatdown on during the season. We finally get to see Connor Kent's Superboy use some of his powers. There's a lot more footage of him during this trailer with Crypto. Him rescuing him getting the black and red Connor Kent Superboy t-shirt from the comics from a stand. No coincidence that Superman merch is all over the place. There's a big rumor they're going to have a Superman cameo during the season 2 as part of his story arc, which makes sense. You introduce Connor Kent Superboy, who's a clone of Superman. You have to introduce Superman at some point. No idea which actor they would get to play that, because we have a couple different versions of Superman coming to Crisis on Infinite Earths this season. Brandon Routh playing the Kingdom Come Superman, which will kind of twist your head in knots, because he was sort of playing a future version of Christopher Reeve's Superman, so it's sort of like saying that Christopher Reeve's Superman eventually became Kingdom Come Superman. But that's sort of happening in a separate universe. There have been rumors about Titans possibly crossing over into Crisis on Infinite Earths, but none of that's been confirmed, so for now I'm just assuming that they're completely separate universes. This is another shot of that classic Titans team. Then we have a new shot in present day in the Titans Tower of Ravager with Nightwing. This seems like it's happening right after whatever assault is happening here, where she's taking down those cops that probably try to apprehend her, right after apparently whatever happens to take her eye out, because she's still got that bandage on, so she's still recovering. But then she makes the joke about, hope I don't break this place, obviously foreshadowing Teen Titans The Judas Contract story, which Jeff Johns said that they would get to in a future season. I talked about it in the last trailer, but odds are what they'll do is they'll just use her as the Terra, like she will eventually betray the team to her father, Deathstroke. Cool training scene with Robin and Ravager. She's been trained by Deathstroke, that's why she's so much more badass than the other members of the Titans. We finally get some of the Starfire backstory. She talked a little bit about where she came from and her home planet during season 1, but it was a very, very brief scene. This is probably just her sister's men, Blackfire, coming to take her back home in chains, because there's this whole Game of Thrones backstory between the two of them. Her sister wants to take the throne and take control of the planet, but Starfire is technically ahead of her in the line of succession, so we'll see how crazy they get with that this season. But because Starfire is a character from outer space, a lot of the aliens showing up during season 2 will be through her storyline. Then we get our big Dr. Light scene. They're actually doing the male version of Dr. Light. They did the female version on The Flash a couple seasons ago. I don't know which episode he shows up in, but they're probably setting him up for a really satisfying takedown because that's the way most of the comics have been using him, just because he's such an awful person. And obviously, if you didn't know before, Esai Morales is playing the new version of Deathstroke, so this is what his costume looks like. We got kind of a darker look at it in that last trailer. This is a much better look in broad daylight. And when Donna Troy is talking to Robin saying, "Be Batman," I don't think she's speaking literally, like don't take the mantle of the Bat, because that is a big comic book Easter egg. Nightwing did become Batman for a while, but everybody post your Titans Season 2 theories in the comments below. Obviously, it's probably going to be Season 3 before we get the full culmination of the Judas contract storyline. There is a new Joker trailer dropping tomorrow morning, so of course I'll do a video for that. But click here to learn about what's going on with Spider-Man, Marvel, and Sony, and click here for my Star Wars Episode 9 trailer Easter eggs. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody stay awesome. I'll see you guys tonight.